Hey, what's up, guys? We're just over here in the lab. I wanted to share with you a first look of my new book that's coming out next year, Master Pickup Artist. It's me on the cover, my ex Michelle. Got the collar and the leash on. Got the big throne right there. Pretty tight. Love that bit. So we're still in the early stages of development, but I wanted to just kind of take you through this book, and you can learn a little bit also about my career as a professional pickup artist and dating guru, and how that actually came to be. So I usually start on my books, title, written by, to the little ISPN number, copyright, and all that stuff. So this is I use the same format I use in a lot of my autobiographical books and stuff. Goes into like a before we begin. This is like understanding that some people want to stay out of the project or keep their name out of it. So I always just kind of inform the reader that certain people, to protect their identity and their image, I have to change names or change times and dates, and create composite characters or something like that to take their place. So gotta respect the innocent. Start with a quote here for all you PUAs out there. Keep sarging, boys. So that's sarging is our term for hunting for pussy, or just night after night, in that playing that game. And then the quote, I actually use it for my ex. This was one of my favorite quotes that Michelle used to say to students when I would have them over, who were like, "Oh, I don't know if I could do this game," and they're like, "I don't know if I could talk to a girl," and she would always say this to them. So like, "She's going to have dinner with someone tonight. It might as well be you." Like, and then people would be like, "Oh shit!" Like, the chick is gonna fuck someone tonight. Like, I might as well just step up and spit some game and might get lucky. Yeah, so I love that. I love that quote. Let's see. This is a picture of us, of the crew in our prime, from the cover of the Seven magazine. And anyway, so the book actually starts out very dark. This is the time frame is 2006, and I'm living in this ghetto hovel council house in England, and this is going through the very dark parts of my divorce. I ended up getting kicked out of 4 countries of England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. I got booted out the United Kingdom. I'm not allowed back in. I'm subject to arrest upon re-entry. I was arrested on 7 different counts: assault, battery, drug charges, destruction of council property, disturbing the peace, drug paraphernalia. I don't know. There's like 7 different fucking charges, and I go into like how this shit happened. It was kind of ridiculous. These are called glyphs, right? By the way, this is kind of like in between chapters when it's not like when the chapter's not yet done, but it's more like a different scene within an act, like Act 1, Scene 1, Act 2. And that little symbol right there is the symbol of a master pickup artist. I got it tattooed right here. It's the symbol Perthes. So you have to go through a certain series of trials and do certain tasks and advancements to under another, let's say, master pickup artist or pickup guru, and you have to achieve certain objectives in order to earn this title. Within the PUA hierarchy, there's a ranking system, kind of like the color belt system in martial arts. I'm above master pickup artist now. I'm what's called a PUG, or pickup guru. Master pickup artist, or MPUA, is underneath that. And then there's PUA, pickup artist, and then the very bottom is AFC, average frustrated chump. And then there's 2 other levels: RAFC, which is recovering average frustrated chump, and then there's APUA, aspiring PUA, or GPUA, green PUA. So there's a whole little hierarchy in there, and in order, basically, it's the same thing within martial arts. In order to go from, like, say, brown to black belt, a black belt, there's no real difference in technique, but you now have the skill set to create another black belt. So basically, you can you can take a guy off the street and train him, teach him all the tricks. So master pickup artist is the same. But once you become really good at being a PUA, you can go out and basically arbitrarily choose targets, girls that you're interested in, and convert them to getting their phone number, to turn them into a lead, and then convert them into a lay. You know, when you become exceedingly proficient at that, once you've been through about 60 to 100 girls, then you'll be ready for to start teaching it to other guys, and you'll earn that master pickup artist level, MPUA, and then PUG, pickup guru. You can only become a pickup guru once you're a MPUA who then develops his own school of thought. For example, I have the real game system. The PUG mystery has the mystery method. Ross Jeffries has speed seduction. Bad Boy has direct game. RSD Tyler has real social dynamics. And then all of these people have people under them that teach their system. They all have their own coaches and their own schools of thought. There's other schools of thought like natural game, or some people would just work online game. And there's a huge structure, and I go into it obviously more in the book. Anyway, let's keep cruising. Just a little history on that symbol. And so this was kind of crazy, because this whole part at the beginning of my journey here is after I got kicked out of England, and I ended up moving to Las Vegas, which was weird because I was living in a hostel in Jesmond in England. And I had a few friends on the East Coast and down in Florida, my buddy Jose, and then I had my friends in, Justin was in San Francisco, my other buddy Jeff was in DC, I have people in California. So I could have gone anywhere, and there was a dart and a dartboard inside of the kitchen portion of the fucking Jesmond YMCA, and I ended up throwing the dart, and I hit Nevada. And it turned out that my buddy Dave Soto lived in Nevada, so he had an extra room, and I came to crash with him until some drama went down. But me and Dave, our buddy Dave, we're selling some dope right here, trying to come up in these streets and make some cash when I first moved to Vegas and shit, on some gangster shit. And but I ended up getting a real job at the Hard Rock Hotel doing stagehand shit. This is a show we set up for Tool, and I finally got my own apartment, so I was basically living in this ghetto, roach-infested apartment complex called Regency Place on the west side in the barrios of Las Vegas, with fucking Mexican gangs and shit. And it was fucking a living nightmare. No hot water, no power, stabbings on my front porch. There was a shooting down by the mailbox, and some real gangster shit going down over there. Anyway, so I was just working and selling dope and doing what I had to do to come up in this struggle. But this is missing a few pages still. But right around this point, I got a letter in my MySpace from a guru named David DeAngelo, Eben Pagan. And he sent me a free copy of his book, Double Your Dating. And I read this thing. I was like, the fuck? Like, tips to pick up chicks. Like, and I was kind of tripping out. And I ended up at the Barnes & Noble bookstore. And I started reading through these self-help books. And I got a book called The Definitive Book of Body Language by Barbara and Alan Pease. And I read it. And so I went on. I want to start using some of these techniques. And lo and behold, this girl Katie right here that I ended up dating for a couple months after this was the first girl that I quote unquote picked up using techniques, not something that just happened spontaneously or serendipitous, or and not something from like when I was a pro soaper on tour where girls, hot fucking high school girls were coming up to me to see like, hey, what's up, like what you doing later, This was hot, 18 years old. I'm 26 at the time. So it was crazy to go to this pool party and actually start spitting game and using techniques straight out of a book. And I explained how I did it in the book, but to actually get the girl's number, and she had a boyfriend at the time, by the way, and I did a trick called AMOGing, or I used what's called a boyfriend destroyer pattern, and the PUA stuff. We have all these technical jargon and shit how we talk, but a BDP, a boyfriend destroyer pattern, Basically, well, I'm not going to explain it right here. You can go to my website for that. But I used these techniques on her, and I ended up sleeping with her the next day. She left her boyfriend and started dating me. Fucking, you know, it was dope. So once I fucked Katie, it just kind of sparked in my brain where I was like, there's something to this. Like, I don't have to do anything to get girls anymore. Like before, I would have to bust a rail on my soaps and then like get a girl's attention. Like I'd wait till a hot girl walks by at school and I'd jump on a rail and she'd see me slide down and she'd go, oh wow, like, and that's how I would get girls' attention. Or I would go to karaoke and I would get on the mic. You know, I'd be walking around the bars trying to talk to girls, but they weren't paying any attention to me. So I'd go up and do like a karaoke song, like sing Mambo Number 5 or Baby Got Back or something like that. And you know, I've always rapped since I was 8 years old, so I'm pretty good on stage. I could spit the wicked lyrical centrifugal fucking flow. So I get on the stage and I would karaoke, and then girls would be like, oh, and then they would respond. But I always had to do something to get girls. And then I realized with these techniques, I didn't have to do anything anymore. All I had to do is follow the step-by-step pattern, and I would be able to get girls' phone numbers, get dates. I'd be able to attract them and ultimately get them in bed and have sex with them. And I could either, you know, make them my girlfriend afterwards, or I could just bounce to the next target. And so, like, after I hooked up with Katie using these techniques, like, I was just mesmerized, and I was like, oh man, like, I got to become a PUA. So that's where I got into it. So going on chapter 3 now here. I call this one Moving On Up. So it got kind of weird because I was, living in this ghetto apartment, and I'm selling dope, and I'm making now $19 an hour, or it was like $22 an hour at this point, doing the staging stuff, because I went to school at Musicians Institute to do recording engineering. So I do like on the mixing boards and lighting and audio, video, stuff like that, setting up bands and miking up their shit. But so I started saving up, and but I wasn't moving up fast enough. I was still living in this fucking ghetto. I was miserable. I was suicidal after my divorce. I couldn't see my kids. I slit my fucking wrists half-assed. I didn't really want to die. I wanted that emotional pain to stop. But it sucked, bro. But I ended up stealing my mom's American Express, and I charged up $16,000 of furniture. Got couches, got fucking bunch of shit to furnish the apartment, big screen TV, and desk, computer, fucking all the video games, The Sims, and like basically I hooked up my apartment and shit to kind of just slingshot me forward a little bit, so get out of that pit of poverty. And when my mom ended up getting the credit card bill, you can imagine the phone call that I got. It wasn't pretty, but anyway, I ended up moving. I saved up as much as I could, and I moved out of this ghetto in the fucking the west side of Vegas over to Henderson. And I ended up moving into this luxury condo at this complex called the Palm Villas. And so this place is full of fucking luxury. I do a house tour on it on my channel, where I had like electronic soap dispensers, and I had recently just got this Pioneer TV for I had like a $5,000 tax return, and so I hooked up this. I had like full Sony 5.1 digital. Like the place was pimped out. It was the Seduction Lair, but my game wasn't still very tight, and I was still overly, the place looked nice, but essentially I was fucking broke, and shit sucked. So anyway, I kept learning the game and stuff like that, and I realized I needed to find more people that were into this stuff, because I was getting results, but I was going out by myself. I didn't have any friends in fucking Las Vegas. So basically I went on Craigslist and I started putting out ads to basically say, hey, I learned these techniques to get girls, and like if you guys are interested in learning these techniques, then hit me up. And I wasn't getting any response. Then I went on this site called meetup.com, and I decided to make a little group, and I called it the Renaissance Program. So basically I met some guys that were also into the game, like this dude Andy right here. He was already a master pickup artist when he joined, and like this guy Mike, he'd never heard anything about the game. So there was people from different levels of experience and stuff like that to mingle with. So anyway, we started this little club, the Renaissance program, and I started doing little seminars at my house, teaching the guys what I know. And then we all kind of got together as a group, and we were bringing in everyone who knew other people. Like, the group started getting bigger, and we started basically trading information. For example, like my buddy Christian, he had all these PUA programs and stuff that he gave me, and then I had spent like $3,000 of my money on David DeAngelo's stuff, and I bought all these other books, and so I let him borrow them. So all of us started getting all of this pickup knowledge, and we started doing bigger and bigger seminars. This is Charles Starr. He was already a master as well when he started, so he was starting to teach dope shit. Like, this was a seminar with this guy Gary, who he wasn't a master. He was a magician, but he'd gone to some boot camps by Neil Strauss, so he started teaching us magic tricks, like rubber band magic, coin tricks, card tricks. So we started going out to the club, combining pickup techniques with doing magic and shit like that. I had this weird solution of, I forgot what the fuck it was called, but you drip it on the tops of matches, and then you can throw the matchbook on another table, and like 30 seconds later it'll fucking burst into flames, because the goo, you can only get it from a magic shop, I forgot what it's called, but you throw it on there, so you can kind of be talking to a girl, and you're like, hey, focus for a second, focus with me. You take her hand, hold her hand, and you're like, we're going to create an energy. And then it looks like the matchbook bursts in flames, and the girl goes, oh my God, how did you do that? And you're like, well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. Can you keep a secret? Anyway, check this out. And I don't know, it's PUA shit. Anyway, that's what we do. So we start having bigger and bigger seminars, and then the word starts getting out. And for example, like, here's this dude, Vince Kelvin, who is a big-time pickup artist in LA. This dude, Peter J. from New York. I started meeting all these other gurus that were doing this stuff. And me and the guys were going out 6-7 nights a week at this point now, just spitting game, running through girls. I started charging money to teach this stuff. At first I was only charging $5. And it ended up going into the thousands. It was pretty crazy. But our following got bigger. At this point, it was kind of interesting. I started seeing this chick. She was 18, and she had a younger sister who was 16. Now, I live in Las Vegas, where the age of consent is 16, so you can be 40, 50 years old, and you can fuck 16-year-olds, and that's 100% legal, as it is in most states, Washington, Oklahoma. Anyway, but I ended up having a three-way with this 18-year-old chick and her 16-year-old younger sister. They weren't friends, they weren't stepsisters, they were real sisters. And so when I came back and I did my lay report, like, it got hella amount of traffic, because everyone was like fucking just like, oh my God, fucking Ryan, how the fuck did that's like $1 million fuck, that's untouchable pussy right there, like, so a lot of guys were very envious about that, because that's a super threesome right there. And so my rep just blew through the roof at that point. At this point, I think I was 29 years old, so to be able to have the type of game to pull hot fucking high school girls when you're almost in your 30s, that's superstar status. So anyway, and she was bisexual, so she didn't care that I was doing the game. So not only was I fucking her, I was also out fucking all kinds of other girls. So, like, I had it made at that point. And then it just got bigger and bigger. Then it was a trip, because I started stepping up my game, because I was like, all right, I'm in the fucking major leagues now. I'm a super player at this point. And because I would just follow the pattern, bam, bam, over and over, I was able to. There's a certain method that we use in the pickup stuff to get girls within what's normally around 6 to 10 hours if you follow the natural sequence. But then I learned how to do what's called insta-fucks. Like, we have things that are called insta-dates, which are basically like meeting a girl, and instead of like getting her phone number to take her out on a date like next Tuesday to go ice skating or something, it would be like, what are you doing right now? Let's go, I'd be at Blue Martini talking to a bitch and be like, well, I got an idea. We're going to go get some breakfast. And so you just take them right to the club, to like either go get some food or right from the club back to your house or even to the parking lot. So instead of like an Insta date, we call it Insta fuck. And so basically I learned how to meet a girl, and within, it's usually like between 7 minutes, about 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half. This is the full thing, from meeting them to bringing them to isolation. Like one girl I fucked in a stairwell in a parking structure within 45 minutes from the time I first saw her and said hello to the time the penetration occurred, 45 minutes. And I came all the way down to in that 10-minute range, and then I broke the Seduction Community world record of meeting a girl, fucking her within 5 minutes. And so my game just became super game. And then anyway, so I wanted to up my game, because I was like, all right, this is cool with these bar chicks and shit, but what about the real pussy? What about the high caliber women? What about the rich women? And so basically I started going out to private events, like at Caesar's Palace. They'd have bikini modeling events that you can only get in if you know people, or exclusive shit. So I had to like break into the industry, and plus I worked in the nightlife industry, so you start meeting people and you get hookups or whatever. So I started meeting women with money, and basically these women would start, basically I would spit my game, and these women would be like spoiling me, buying me stuff, buying me, you know, not like me as a guy trying to take a girl out to dinner. It was girls trying to take me out to dinner, buying me chocolate, giving me the keys to their cars. I would go over to one girl's house and bang her, and then I would be calling up my next girlfriend, meeting her later that evening, and getting the same rock star treatment as the last girl. One chick I met at a bar, she was from out of town, and she lived in Ohio or whatever. We started making out at the bar, and I couldn't close the deal. But a week later, she called me back, paid for my plane ticket to fly me from Vegas to stay with her for a week, and got us a hotel room with a kitchen, and, you know, taking me out to dinner, and just, you know, spoiling me, treating me like a superstar. So at that point, it was like, I'm in the game, dog. You know, so it got fucking crazy. At that point, basically, what I did is I created what was called the Lair, the Las Vegas Lair. Actually, we have a new DVD out about it, which goes into depth about, was a good underground footage of the meetings that we did and stuff like that. And there's some guest appearances from other gurus, and the following ended up getting bigger. What started with just those, you know, 6-7 people when I started, I ended up with over 215 students, and we had done at the end 512 of these fucking seminar meetings and shit. I'd be trying to put as much footage out on YouTube as I can, but it takes forever to edit it. But anyway, the following got bigger. This is a funny picture right here, because this girl right here, I picked her up at a bar the week before, fucked her within 6 hours, and here she is next week at the seminar where I'm teaching the guys the techniques of how I picked her up. And she's like dying in the corner. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I fell for that. But it was cool. We ended up dating for like a couple months. It was pretty dope. Let's see. Ultimately, I used the game to attract the love of my life. And I met this girl, Michelle. And we, within like 2 or 3 weeks of meeting each other, we became boyfriend, girlfriend. And I ended up moving in with her. And we ended up seriously dating. And we were even engaged near the end before we split up and went our separate ways. But pretty dope to be able to use the game to attract your dream girl, which I did it. You know, I lived the dream, and it's fucking crazy. She kind of ended up becoming like the Lair mom. Like some pictures of her, like she's always cooking food for us, and she's putting out drinks or whatever like that. And I was just doing the seminars. At this point, I'm charging $2,000 and $3,000 to take these guys out. And I started doing what's called boot camps, which is like you get a group of guys, like here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes, and I'm charging them $3,000 a piece to take them out for like 4 or 5 hours on the strip and show them how to talk to girls, and I'm monitoring their body language and are they put their hands in their pockets, are they talking clear, how are they delivering their lines, and you know, you think about this, 5 guys times $3,000, that's $15,000 in one night, non-taxable, and so you can do this as much as you want. You can make a lot of money off this really quick. Oh, and I met this dude, Bad Boy, who's like the best pickup artist in Europe. He's from Croatia. he came to do his U.S. tour, so we did a 22-city tour across America, kind of like almost the same way that a rock band has a headliner and then they have opening band. So I was just one of his like guest speakers. It was me and this dude Nathan, and so like Nathan would talk for like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, then I would talk for 15 minutes, and kind of like boosting him up and hyping up the room, and also get that exposure, be able to, you know, talk about what we do. And I could say like, so if you guys are in Vegas, make sure that you come hit me up for coaching. And anyway, so then I got that tour experience, so that was dope. Came back and I got on the cover of the Las Vegas 7 magazine, and then I hit the City Life magazine with my buddy Matt Artisan, who's another guru. And at that point I started making my own business, which was like I started doing this tactical vest thing where it was like I was at the point where I was hiding in bushes. I had spike cam glasses on. I had my students mic'd up with lapel mics and earpieces, and basically I'm telling them like, okay, your target is coming, you know, down the corridor at 12 o'clock, you know, turn to your right. Okay, you see her? Okay, go in and use the island opener. You know, guys, the island opener is like a way to start a conversation that I made up, where you walk up to the girl and you go, hey guys, quick question, you know, if you guys were on your own island, what's the first thing that you would do? Or if you owned your own island, it was all to yourself, what's the first thing you would do? And girls could be like, oh, I'd smoke pot, I'd have sex, or whatever. And it's just an interesting way to start a conversation. So I made all these scripted stock openers that I would give the dudes, and I would be like, okay, like the girl on your left she's feeling you, why don't you, you know, do this, advance, whatever. Anyway, I started getting a lot more press at that point, and I started my own company, and it just kind of blew up from there. Michelle and I went our separate ways. We've now fast forwarded through time till about 2011, 2012-ish, around this time, where I'd kind of mastered the game. And in self-help, there's these 3 pillars. We like to call them health, wealth, and relationships. Now, I mastered the relationships part, but my health, I was like 70 pounds overweight. So basically, I started focusing all on physical fitness, and I got into the best shape of my life. I lost 70 pounds. I became a marathon runner. And so I became a personal trainer. So now I fucking looked amazing. My health was supercharged, and I had fucking tight game. So now I start pulling fucking even younger and hotter girls, like this chick, fucking Lexi, 17, bro, like untouchable type of pussy, bro. So like, and then I started dating models. This chick was like a Swedish model, pulled her number right in front of her boyfriend. And the game just, you know, supercharged from there. But I was still broke, kind of, because like I would make a lot of money and then I would spend it all. And so I needed to focus on the third, you know, the finances. Kind of like Legend of Zelda, there's the 3 Triforces: power, wisdom, and courage. But in self-help, it's like health, wealth, relationships. So finally I started focusing on finances, and I joined a secret society, and basically I learned the technique called multiple sources of income, which was like put out as many different sources of income as you can: books, CDs, tapes, DVDs, clothing line, whatever, and just start having them out there so you can make money while you sleep. So I ended up writing my first autobiography, Pro Soaper, along with like a bunch of other soap stuff, and I put then I started writing all of my dating books and stuff. Like right now, this book right here, Master Pickup Artist, is just another multiple source of income. And now I'm the author of over 60 different books. I have several different albums out, and so now I'm collecting money from all different angles. So just basically get that super game, and then I'm probably going to do maybe 1 or 2 more chapters of kind of like after the fact type of stuff or extras, and then I go into basically which is why I'm not super in shape anymore. Is because I've been sitting for the last 5 years, since around 2012 till now, till May of 2017, writing all these fucking books, sitting at this desk. I got fat again, so I'm gonna have to step up that part of my game again after I publish a couple more books. But anyway, then I do like a letter thanking you. Hey, thank you for purchasing my product. You can reach me at this website, JAUNZEMISLifestyleCoaching.com, blah blah blah. Do like an about the author, contact information, and then I like to put in all my other products, other dating products that are relevant to this book, so that clients can get them. And then I end with my subscribe on YouTube. So anyway, that's my the first look at my new book, Master Pickup Artist. As you can see, I got a lot more typing to do and punctuating, and I've got a lot more pictures I want to add in. But I wanted to share what this is about. Writing has actually become a crazy passion for me. I've been doing it my whole life, as long as I can remember. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my story. You can, if you wanna see more, you wanna see some of these actual seminars, just go on my YouTube, type in Ryan JAUNZEMIS PUA, or go on there's a playlist that says Ryan JAUNZEMIS Master Pickup Artist that has a lot of these crazy night outs and infield footage, and got a video on there getting a girl's number in 15 seconds, and there's some pretty cool stuff. And then this video too, the Las Vegas Lair, which it's on my YouTube too. You can buy it on DVD, and you can watch it for free on my YouTube. It says the Las Vegas Lair, the mini movie, and it's pretty dope. There's who's in there? Bad Boy, Psych of Game, Vince Kelvin. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in there. So my buddy Christian S. Valentino. Yeah, I've got a lot more stuff to add. I have to add in like the Vice article, and I have to add in the H3 stuff. Like, so a lot of stuff of the Ride article. A lot of stuff has happened since then. So I'm just kind of working my way, putting the puzzle pieces back together. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Sarging, boys.